Alright guys, hello and welcome to your 29th Java tutorial in which we are going to be going over variable length arguments. Alright, you might be asking yourself, what are variable argument lists? Well then, you're in the right place because that's exactly what we're going to go over today. Alright, as you can see I have a blank program, nothing in it, just a main method. It'd be kind of annoying if I talked in that voice all one tutorial, just to piss you guys off. Alright, anyways, we have a blank main method, and let's change that by creating a method. Well, what method is this, you ask? Well, it's going to be a method that averages numbers, but not just a specific amount of numbers. It can take any amount of numbers. That's right, guys. And we implement that by using variable length arguments. Alright, let's go ahead and create this magical method. It'll be a public static int, for now at least, average, and I'm going to leave out the parameters for now. So it has to be static once again, well, not once again, first time I'm saying this, to match these modifiers here, because we're going to be using a method in our main method, and it has to be static. I'll probably go over this later, but for now, just take my word for it. Alright, and what magical parameter goes in here? I hope you guys remember methods, by the way. This is an int, this is a return type. It's going to return the average of all the numbers in here. And what is this, argument, variable argument? I can't even say it. Variable length argument list. I'm just going to type some code here, and nope, not that. And there we go. And I'll explain it, of course. Oh, no, let's just go on. No, I'm kidding. I'll explain it quickly. So this int pretty much specifies what types of numbers are going to be going in here. This dot 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 or ellipsis represents that there can be any number of integers in these parameters, and how they're going to be called simply by average. They're going to be separated by commas, if you know what I mean. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, like so. 4, I meant. Alright, and this numbers thing right here is the array, and the array is pretty much where all the numbers that we put here are stored. So all the numbers that we put in between commas in as parameters for this method are stored in this numbers array that we can easily access afterwards. Alright, so let's go ahead and find the average. Average is the sum divided by the number of numbers. So first we need to create a few variables. One is going to be the sum. We're going to preset it to 0, and the other one's going to be the actual average. Once again, preset that to 0. Let's create a for loop here, and it's going to be enhanced for loop, or a special type of for loops created for arrays. I hope you guys remember how to do this, or if not, just review it in one of my last tutorials. I've created an easy to manage playlist, and you can check that out there, of my Java tutorials at least. And for int I, we put a colon and we put numbers. All this is going to do is create an integer I. Every time it loops through, I becomes the next element in the numbers array. So what do we want to do? Each time it loops, we just want to add I to the sum. So we effectively add all the numbers from the numbers array to our sum. After that, we can simply calculate our average by taking our sum and dividing it by numbers.length. Now, I'm not sure I actually went over this, but length is dot length is a parameter of any array, and all it does is return the number of elements in that array, or the number of numbers in this case, which is exactly what we're looking for. So without further ado, now that we've calculated our average, we can simply return it to match our return type at the beginning of the method. Alright, fair enough, simple enough. Let's go ahead and put this method to some quick use. System.out.println. Let's try that out. Alright, so let's do something very simple at first, like average of two numbers, 2 and 2. 2 plus 2, 4, divided by number of numbers, which is 2, would be 2. Average of these is 2. We're correct, but check this out. Now, if we were trying to do this with, definite arguments, we would have to create an argument for every element that we're trying to put in. So we would either have to have a method for exactly 2 numbers, we would have to have another method for 3 numbers, but with this, all the elements we put, it can be completely unlimited. All of them are stored in numbers, and we find the average of all of them, which is very, very convenient and handy. So once again, let's try something a bit harder. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's okay. It's not too hard at all, And let's try one more. 1, 2, 5. Now, as you notice, the sum of all these is 8 divided by 3. It will not be a whole number. I believe it'll be 2 2/3. And let's see what we get. Well, we get 2. Well, that's actually kind of obvious why we get 2, because the return type is an integer. And I don't know if I've went over this or not, but in this case our sum is 8, our numbers.length is 3. When it's divided, we get 2.66667, or 2 2/3. And since it's an integer, what it does to this value, it has to automatically cut off everything to the right of the decimal point. So it just does this, and it prints out just a plain 2 as we saw. If you want to change this, all we need to do is simply change the type of the sum to float, and once again type of the average to float again. All this does, we're pretty much just dividing the float sum by the float numbers.length, and since we're working with floats or doubles for that matter, it doesn't actually it doesn't matter. It doesn't want to cut it off, is what I meant to say. Yeah, so this number, it will not cut it off because a float can store values to the right of the decimal point. So simple enough. We can still only have integer arguments for this. I just like to keep it nice and simple. Integer values. If you want, you can try to make a one with double arguments, but nonetheless. Return average. Oh yeah, and we have to change our return type to float. Simple enough. Let's go ahead and hit that run button for 1, 2, and 5. Let's see what we get. Biome 2.6666667. I'm not sure how many sixes. That was 6 sixes, I believe, in there. So there we go, guys. Simple little, tutorial on blah, blah, blah. What is it called? Variable length arguments. There we go. Alright. Alright, thank you guys very much for watching, and tune in for the next tutorial. Peace.